Hey. So, practical jokes. My dad was an inveterate practical joker, and it started when he was a child. He and his brother used to play practical jokes on each other, but not just when they were children. They played practical jokes that actually had threads that went through their entire lives. And I say this having seen at one point a demand letter that my dad had put together on a lawyer's letterhead to my uncle for a nickel that my dad had loaned him in 1937. It didn't just ask for the nickel, it asked for a buffalo nickel, a 1935 buffalo nickel, minted in Denver. So this was just one example. Another example of my dad's humor, the things that he was really known for, practical jokes being one of them. He was also a champion golfer. He was at one point the Long Beach City champion. And the threads become entangled here because he was in a tournament that was a national tournament where golf courses across the country hosted golfers, some of them celebrities. General Patton was one of them. And the idea was you played golf against Ben Hogan. Some of you may know who Ben Hogan was. He was like one of the greatest golfers ever. My dad did not win. However, he couldn't leave a good thing undone, so he had a medal made and sent to Ben Hogan that said, "I beat Bob Deeble." So, okay, practical joker, golfer. He was also an early adopter of jogging, so he would go out in the morning before everybody was out, and he would go jogging, which meant on trash day, he had first dibs. So one morning he came home with a bourbon barrel that he'd found in our neighbor's yard. He'd gone up and knocked on their door and said, "Can I have this?" And of course, I heard about that at school for the entire day. My dad was trash picking. He did cut it in half and made two really awesome chairs. It was pretty cool. My dad also, we had a house up in the mountains, and I came in there one day and there was this thing on the table that looked like a snake. It was about a foot long and it was green and slimy. And I was like freaked out, and he laughed at me and he said, no, that's silicone. The neighbors are redoing their windows and they pulled that out. I found it in a pile of debris in their front yard, and I said, "Of course you did." He had a stroke hiking on a trail, and he used to work for the Forest Service. He was, went through ER, ICU, all the acronyms, rehab. He managed to get back on the trail using wrist crutches, and he became everybody's hero. They just all really loved my dad, which was great. One of the other things he was known for was up in the wilderness was a tent cabin, and on Sunday mornings he made breakfast for all of the folks that were in the Forest Service. Well, one of the other things that happened was, as a result of that stroke that he had what they call lateralized sensitivity, which meant one side of his nose had no feeling. And so when his nose would run, he wouldn't know. And his colleagues in the Forest Service would politely just say, "Hey, Bob," point to the nose, and he would wipe it. So he would make breakfast for everybody on Sunday morning. He'd make a pile of buttermilk pancakes and a package of turkey bacon. And so one morning I happened to be up there. We're all in our beds, and he would get up before everybody, and he would make these pancakes and then call everybody to the table, and we would eat. So he was standing at the counter working, cooking, and then he called 5 minutes. We got out of our beds, got to the table, and he turned around holding the plate with the pancakes, and that green piece of silicone was hanging from his right nostril, making like Poe's pendulum back and forth above the pancakes. And he grinned at us and he said, "Who's hungry?" Thank you.